Okay, today we're going to draw my famous music map. This is the way to find your way around a music staff. So we start with the high sounds, and we give them 5 lines pretty close to the top of the page. Then we're going to leave a gap in the middle, and we're going to give the low sounds 5 lines also. This is called a staff, and this is called a staff. It has 5 lines, just like your finger has 5 fingers. They have 5 lines. Now, to indicate that these are going to be playing the high notes, we're going to draw a treble clef. We're going to start with a J that starts higher than the staff and goes lower. And you see how it looks like the letter J. But it is tall and it does hang down low. Then we're going to make something that looks like a P. And here comes the tricky part. It's going to be a G, but it has to sit on the bottom line right there and curl around like that. So here you can see the G part. Matter of fact, 500 years ago, this was the way they wrote the capital letter G. You're just lucky you went to kindergarten recently and all you had to learn was this part of the G. The reason they put this here, this old-fashioned G, this treble clef, is because all they were saying was, this is the note G. That's all they were saying. It wasn't a fancy music symbol to begin with. It was the letter G to tell you this is where G is. So we're going to darken in the G line. This special line, this G line there. Now for our low notes, we're going to make a bass clef. And we're going to put a big ball right there. And then we're going to curl up and around and kind of flatten it out at the bottom. Then we have a dot above that line and below that line. And I bet you would have a hard time figuring out what that was an old-fashioned letter for. Though if I told you it was like this, you might think, oh, that looks a little bit like our F these days, except it's backwards. But what happened was this curvy line actually turned out being a straight line over the years, and the dots turned into lines. So we got our capital letter F from this. But it doesn't look much like it now. Most kids guess that's a C. But this is on the F line, and the 2 dots are on the F line. It's almost like it's making this big arrow pointing right here to this F line. So we'll darken in the F line too. So our special lines are the G line and the F line. Now you notice we have this big gap in the middle. This is rather special because this is the place we're going to put a small line and draw the note middle C. Right there. Doesn't it look like the planet Saturn? It's got the planet and the rings around it. And this is called middle C. It's in the middle between the high notes and the low notes. Right in the middle. It's not exactly the middle of the piano. It is, however, the middle of the high notes and the low notes, the treble clef and the bass clef. So now we are going to count up 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3, and right here we're going to put another note because that's another C. And this one is called treble C. And if we go down 3 spaces, we come to a C. And this one is called bass C. So we're making a pattern. We're starting in the middle, we go up 3 spaces, or we go down 3 spaces. We still get to the C's anyway. My pattern continues, and if I go up into the attic here, up high, 1 step, 2 steps up into the attic, I put a note on there, and this is called high C. Guess what happens if I follow my pattern down here? I go 2 steps down into the basement. I get down to, you guessed it, low C. So my pattern starts from the middle here and works out. So I've got my middle C, I go out 3 spaces either way, I go down 2 steps into the basement or up to the attic, and it makes the pattern. And we read it this way. So that's your basic map. I'm going to show you the more advanced map now. So if you haven't learned this yet, don't worry about it. You can stop the video here. But if you do know this part, this is a review for the rest of the map. We are lucky to be working in English because these spaces spell a word. And the word is face. F-A-C-E. Notice C. See, we told it. We already knew that was treble C. It is indeed C. F-A-C-E. It's still a C on there. Those are the names of the spaces there. For the left hand, the bass clef here, we have a nonsense word. It spells ace. That's nice. But then we have this leftover G. So I say ace G. We have ace and then the leftover G. Ace G for the left hand. Face is easy to remember. Ace G is kind of silly to remember. But it works. This is A. This is C. See? We knew that was a C. That's our bass C. Now I have one other thing I want you to add to your music map. And that is on the very bottom line here. We're going to write the word gorilla. Because this bottom line is gorilla G. Gorilla starts with a G, and the name of this note is a G. And it makes a very low sound like a gorilla does. So this is our gorilla G right on this bottom line here. Now, if you can do all of that in 17 seconds or less, I have a prize waiting for you. But this is everything you need to put on your music map so that you know your way around the music staff. Good luck.